Hello, and we are live. So, today we are going to create a card that I shared in my stories and on my Instagram in the last few days. We are going to recreate it, but maybe we'll add a little bit of a twist. So, let's get started, shall we? Okay, so this is what we are going to do. We are going to turn the camera, we are going to focus on the card, and we'll get going. These are the things I have prepared in advance. So I have my cards, which we are going to use as a little bit of a sample and reference, so to say. And we have my stamp sets ready, my heat embossing things ready, and that's all we need. Let's go. One thing I'm going to change though in today's um, pink and blue. I still have both of them kind of really light, and I'm not sure I want to stick to the color scheme today. So we are going to go with a darker blue, and we are going to create the same pattern over there. All right. So the panel I have chosen is this one here. Hi, Donna. How are you? I'm so glad you could join. Hi. Okay. What we're going to do is I'm using a stamp positioner. I'm using stamp wheel from Alto Inu. Absolutely not mandatory. You can totally join or create the same kind of card with any solid stamp images you might have, and maybe Misty or even blocks like these, like stamping blocks. Totally fine. I'm just going to do it this way because in a limited time, I want to make sure that we get the entire, like so much stamping and everything done. That's the only reason. All right, enough talking. Let's get to doing. So I'm setting up my paper over here. And the first thing we are going to do is we are going to place and get our sentiment stamped, because I want to make sure that tells me how much real estate I have for rest of my design. So I'm going to go with, I did your appreciated, you're amazing. I'll probably go with your special. So we are going to put this at the top. And your regular stamp positioner, the way you use it, I have my Alt E new stamp wheel and I have marked the top, so I know that's the side that is facing at the top. Pick it up, and again, standard heat embossing stuff. So I'm going to put some powder tool and use my Versamark, which is nothing but a clear sticky ink, to ink my stamp and then turn it around and stamp. And as with the other cards, I still want my accent color, so to say, which is also going to be my sentiment color, to be gold. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm bringing in my gold embossing powder, and I want to avoid getting any sticky over here. So get a paper which I use for scooping up. The powder I'm going to use is Simon Says stamp. And on the side, I started my heat gun, so it will be nice and hot. In spite of having so much heat embossing done to this paper, it is still going to not be warped. And the secret is to keep your heat gun moving at all the time. Like, don't keep it stationary or heating up in a single spot. That makes it so much worse. That makes the warping so much worse. So what we're going to do is I'll show you one time and then I'll do it off camera just to avoid damage to any of these things. But the first time I want to show you what I do. So tap off the excess. You know your powder is exactly where it is. Bring in your heat tool, which should be really hot, and then keep it moving. Keep it moving. You will see a little bit of warping, but not a whole lot. And then I also like to go at the other side of the paper and heat it up a bit, just so that the warping gets cancelled. So we'll keep doing this. After every round of stamping with Versamark and adding the powder on top, we'll keep doing this. We'll keep heating up our heat tool to a nice hot temperature, and we'll make sure to keep the gun moving when we are actually melting the powder. That is the secret. And after all this, when you're adhering it to your card base, use very solid adhesive. I'm going to use double-sided tape, and that's going to also help with not getting a warped front. All right, next step, we are going to do the white, and we are going to do the flowers. I'm using this as reference. And in real life, what I like to do in real life, in the sense when I'm not practicing for live, or when I'm just creating cards for myself, what I still like to do is create a template with the design I like. At least get the placement of my stamps or die cuts or what have you. At least get them the way that looks appealing, that looks good to me. And from then on, I create, and I use just normal printer paper to do that. And from then on, I create it with cardstock and all the good papers, so to say. That way we are not wasting our costlier supplies, because craft dollars, right? Every dollar counts when it is craft dollars. All right, I think that's the arrangement I like. So I'm going to pick up all of these, and this is the reason I'm using a stamp positioner, so that all these stamps which are going to have same color, I can pick them up at the same time, and I can just heat emboss at the same time. Let me quickly check what's going on here. I'm seeing a couple of requests for people to join, and I'm going to accept it. Okay, I think we are good. So just like with last time, we are going to heat emboss this. I think I should not have accepted that request. Maybe I should turn it off. Okay, I did something wonky, guys. Sorry. This is my first time doing live, so I'm trying to figure things out. Anyways, I think some other crafter managed to join. Okay, we'll still stick to what we're trying to do here. So next step, I added powder tool. Powder tool on a card surface is essential, I would say, for heat embossing, because it prevents getting the powder to stick anywhere where you don't want it. For example, your fingers will have some kind of oil or stickiness, and when you do that, when you touch your paper, what happens is you leave a little bit of residue, and that attracts the powder. You don't want that. All right, good impression. I think I will just double stamp that single one again, and then we will add powder. Okay, now all of these, I want them in white, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to batch stamp every single color so that I'm reducing the time I'm spending while heating up. So I'm not spending too much time heating the paper and then only for this much and then only for this much. This is the biggest reason why I decided to use a stamp positioner. But by all means, don't let that restrict you. If you don't have any, feel free to just use blocks. But I would highly encourage to stamp all the ones that you want with a particular pattern, add the powder, and then melt them together. That way you are reducing the exposure of your paper to heat. And this is another technique. See how I got powder here? Despite what I tried to avoid, I got extra powder here. I'm going to bring in a dry brush and then tease it a little bit and then tap it off. Okay, this time, yeah, I think I got powder exactly where I want. I might want to add a little bit here and here. Okay, let's scoop it back and then bring in my heat tool. All right. I'm trying to move this out so that I can actually get my heat tool here to show you guys. And on the side, I'm checking that the temperature is correct. I have this heat tool which is dual temperature, I think that's what they are called. So they have two temperature settings. And I have always, for my heat embossing, I've always used the higher setting. That has always helped me to get the powder melted quicker and not have to spend too much time or too much working on the paper. Oh, I love these. I love how they look. Melting embossing powder is always magical to me. Even after years of working with embossing, the whole chemistry of how heat melts the powder, oh, it's pure magic. Okay. All right, we are ready for our leaves. And the leaves we are going to do with clear embossing powder. This clear will create the effect, because I'm using a colored cardstock, it will create the effect of tone on tone, and that's what I'm going for. And again, I'm going to refer back to my previously created card here for the placements. This one, I'm using both my stamp sets, my small florals as well as large florals. They complement each other beautifully. So that's what I'm going for. And I might not stick to the exact arrangement what I did there, because for the life of me, I cannot recreate things exactly as they are. You should probably ask my family. I can't even cook the same recipe twice in the same way. That's a fun fact about me, but true. I can't. So that's what we're going to do. And we are going to bring in some ones here, and then maybe this one here. Okay, let's pick it up and do the last bulk stamping. And I'll tell you why I'm calling this the last bulk stamping. Remember I said I want to do a little bit of twist, so you'll see that in a bit. Okay, so powder tool, add Versamark. Hi, somebody said hi. Really? Oh my God, yes, both of the sets go really well together. In fact, I had designed them together and then I had to split, because one stamp set can only have so many images. I had designed them together as a large bouquet and parts of it, and then I split them up based on their sizes. That way, for somebody who wants to choose whether it is they want to create a large arrangement or a small arrangement, even for the type of projects that you're creating. So that was the reason I split them. Okay, beautiful. Let's do this. Let's add powder next and melt it. See, even after having repeated my embossing at least 2 times already, we are not seeing warping on this paper. It is not as warped or as, it also depends on the type of paper. This is the cardstock that I don't know if it is recollections, either it is recollections or it is from Spellbinders Club Kits. Oops, I did a boo boo. Okay. So it also depends on the type of paper you're using. But all in all, if you don't concentrate heat on a particular area on the cardstock, and if you don't spend too much time, so if your heat tool is not really nice and hot, you will end up spending too much time just to get the powder to melt. So if you avoid these two things, I think you can safely avoid, or at least minimize or reduce the amount of warping you will get. I'm going to do this off camera just because I forgot to move my stuff aside. But I'll show you the output just in a little bit. There it is. I love this. In fact, I love how they bubbled up because the powder was not perfectly stamped, maybe, but I love this overall effect. Okay, now for the fun part. I'm going to keep my stamp positioner and stamps aside. We are going to have some fun. I am bringing in my Ranger pen, which is nothing but, it's actually, I think, like the Versamark ink, but it's a pen that adds clear sticky ink. So that's what I'm doing. I'm simply adding dots. That's it. I'm going to random places, adding dots, and did I miss something? Maybe here some. I think that's good. Maybe just a couple more here. It's so easy to get carried away when you're doing something like this. And I've done that so many times. Okay, now we are going to add gold over all these dots. And we are going to melt it. I'm excited to see what it will look like. I got some gold over here. I'm going to brush it off because, or maybe we could keep it. Here also I got some. Okay. Not exactly what I was going for, but I am curious to see what it will look like. Art is all about experiment, right? Let's do this. And honestly, gold accents on dark navy is one of my all-time favorite combinations. Even copper accents on dark navy color paper. Love. Absolutely love. Okay. I'm going to simply sweep everything off so you can see the magic yourself. Oh, I love it. Oh my God. I am absolutely thrilled with what it looks like. There you go. Oh my God. I am delighted with what this looks like. Now, the only thing remaining is to mount it. I let it cool down just a little bit, is to mount it on a card base. And I have a card base that I've kept ready. And I will mount it using double-sided tape onto a card base. But I think that's it. This is the card. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me today. Leave comments in the when I post this on Instagram. Leave comments to let me know what was the best part you liked. If there is anything else you would like me to work with in the next live, and we'll see what we can do. Thank you so very much, every single person who joined. Thank you, thank you, thank you for hanging out with me today. God bless you. I'll share pictures later. Thank you. God bless you. Bye bye.